Welcome, everybody, to the Advanced Selling Podcast, the longest running sales training podcast in the history of podcasts. Solo episode, B. Neal here. No Bill. Powered by Blind Zebra Sales Operating System. This is a fun number to say. We just certified our 92nd operations coach in the Blind Zebra Sales Operating System this past Thursday. That's fun because my NFL jersey number when I referee is number 92. So it's kind of special, 92. If you want to figure out how to get and learn about how to get certified and join, we'll be over 100 by the time you join the class. Just go to BZSOS at blind-zebra.com or email us rather, BZSOS at blind-zebra.com. That's my jingle. So I call this also sometimes a 2-minute drill. It's the longest 2 minutes in sales podcasting, but those of you who've listened to the podcast for the last 19 years, you know, Bill and I don't have very many guests on. We're very, very picky about who we bring on. When we do have a guest, it is about 80% of our guests are personally invited by us. Sometimes they include a sponsorship package. Today is not one of the sponsorship deals. This is a personal invite. I'm glad to welcome to the Advanced Selling Podcast, John Barrows from Make It Happen Monday. John, what is up, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
I've been following John for a long time. And it's funny how you find people and you follow people that tend to validate how you think, but you also can learn from and take from. And John, since you've been doing your thing, man, I've been following you. And so I'm really, really glad to have a little convo with you today.
Likewise, my friend. I've been looking forward to this one.
So let's see, we're going to talk about, and it's football season. I told John I'm heading off to training camp as soon as we hang up. Plan out to see your Patriots.
Hey, they're gonna have a good year, this man. So they've been in the dumps for the past few years, and now there's hope. There's hope. So we'll see what happens.
Always hope, isn't there? But I know you're a big Patriots fan, and we're gonna do a little football theme here today. And we talk a whole lot about what happens up front in the sales process, how to get appointments, how to garner attention up front, then how to handle midterm things like objection pricing, all the things. One thing that I don't think gets enough attention is the end of the sales process. And because it's football season, I'm going to call that the red zone. Yeah. And especially in long selling cycles, which I'm sure with your clients, there aren't very many short selling cycles these days. No. We get to the end, and I feel like too often, two things happen. I want to talk about a leadership version of this and the salesperson's version of this. The salespeople don't want to do anything to screw it up. I feel like sometimes I see teams play to not lose versus play to win. And I see sales leaders applying pressure because they're nervous that the forecast is wrong. So that's kind of the context I want to bring up first. And so start with your observations of just red zone process, red zone activity, red zone behavior, and then we'll get into some tactical sort of like mistakes people make and advice stuff. So give me your 2 cents on the red zone concept.
Yeah, no, I think that's I do talk a lot about how the deal is won or lost in discovery, right? But there still needs to be the close. I was just having this conversation the other day with somebody, my mentor, Jeff Hoffman. I think I talk about sales as a science and an art, right? And how I personally believe that sales should be a little bit more of a science than an art, because the science lays the foundation, the structure, the process we put in place allows each one of us to figure out our art. But unfortunately, I think we have swung way too far to the science side, and we have lost the art, specifically as it relates to closing. Like, and quite frankly, like, I'm not one of those guys either that gets all jazzed up for the close, but I watch my mentor, Jeff Hoffman. And when I talk about the, natural born sales professionals, I think there's probably like maybe, and I'm going to be generous here, 3 to 4% of our population that are like the genuine natural born. And I don't mean in the douchey ways like Wolf of Wall Street crap. I mean, like, just know how to ask the questions, know how to guide people through the process, know when to ask, know. And he's one of those guys, and I've seen him do it before, and it is pure beauty. Like, it is like when he sits there and asks that question to get them to move, right? Because people don't inherently want to make decisions. And, they're comfortable with being safe. So you have to put them in an uncomfortable position. You don't have to be a douche about it. You don't have to, use some weird technique to convince them. And I think that's the crux of it, is I think people conflate sales and closing with convincing. And to me, I think if you are trying to convince somebody of something, you're doing it wrong. Sales is about helping people solve problems or achieve goals, period. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So once you find out that they have a problem that you can solve and it's having an impact on their business, you gotta learn that close, because too many deals die for it's not even no decision anymore. And I'll bring in, the book, Jolt Effect right now, right? So you got challenger sale, you got challenger customer, and then Jolt Effect. And the reason that Jolt Effect was created was because challenger sale was actually reducing conversion ratios pretty significantly, especially in this market, because what you're doing right now, it's not no decision, it's indecision. And the reason is because things are moving so fast and there's so many other options that people are scared to make decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you. I've been, the whole better, faster, cheaper, right? You can have two, but not all three, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We're in a situation right now, right, where you can have all three. And the client will agree with you and say, yeah, you know what? You are better, faster, and cheaper on our. We're still not going to do it. And it's because the risk, my perception of the risk associated with making this decision is far higher than any potential ROI I'm going to gain.
Yes.
And so because of that risk, if you apply challenger sale to it and you're like, hey, every minute you don't do this, right? You're actually adding fear to somebody who's already scared.
Yeah.
So our job is to reduce that fear and reduce that risk, but also guide them in a way that feels more natural for them to do it in their best interest. So there's my little rant on that.
I love the rant. I love it. Let me ask you this then.
Yep.
Can the art be taught? I can teach process and science all day. Art, I want your opinion on that.
Yes.
Good.
And I say that because every artist had to start with structure.
Yes.
Picasso wasn't Picasso doesn't come out of the gate as Picasso. You know what I mean? Like, he mastered the blue period. He mastered acrylics. He mastered oils. He mastered the process. And then he became Picasso. So I think you can. Now, the pure artistry, the ones that didn't even need the process in the first place. No, I don't think so. But yes, because it's also trial and error. Like, if you are even somewhat self-aware and you try these things and you realize they don't work, and then you try them again and you hone that craft, Now, am I ever going to be Michael Jordan? No. You know what I mean? But if I worked as hard as he did and I practiced as hard as he did, would I potentially one day make the NBA? I mean, me personally, not as a 50-year-old man, right? But my point is, like, anybody can get to a level of way better than everybody else.
Yes.
But maybe not elite, because there is some natural things that happen there. Like, you pick any athlete, although, I don't know, Tom Brady, right? Probably the most unathletic freaking football player on the planet. So I don't know. I do believe you can teach it. It's the same question I struggle with as far as curiosity.
Yes.
Can you?
Yes.
I think I'm genuinely curious, and I think that is a nature thing. Like, you were born genuinely curious or not, but I believe you can teach curiosity by getting people interested.
Yes.
Because once you're interested in something, you're curious about learning it. And then if you're curious about learning it, you can then master it, right? By being, so I think you can put people in a position to be curious. You can put people in a position to learn the art. It's their desire, though, to go that deep, to learn it and be conscious of it in order for them to get there.
Yeah, that's where I go with this. It's you can do both. So you're born on a spectrum of the thing. I'm born within a spectrum of the art. Some people are, like you said, 4% of the people are golden tongue, slick. They can sell anything to anybody. There's 4% that'll never be able to do that side of it. Those people can still do process. And then you can become more of whatever the thing is. I can become better at the art. I may not become Picasso, but I can't draw anything. But if I started practicing and learn process, I could become a decent artist, right?
The great analogy for this one that I use is, and this is for managers, right? And also, I also think for us as a, more experienced generation, if you will, I used to rail on scripts, right? It's like, oh, fuck scripts, that shit. But if you don't know what you don't know, a script is good, right? The key is then learning how to adapt that script to yourself. So to me, it's about structure. Not scripts necessarily, structure. And the analogy I use is, have you ever done paint night with, date night, paint night?
Yeah, totally, 100%. Yes.
So I took my wife on one of these, and art was my first major in college, whatever. I'm a hack, but whatever. And she can't even literally she has a hard time making a stick figure. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we walk in the door, and for people who are listening who have never been to these, it's you go to a bar basically, and everybody has an easel, and there's an artist up there, and they pick a painting, and then you just paint it all night. That's fun, right? And you get hammered while you do it. So,
Yes.
but we walked in there, and there was a Monet, and my wife literally almost had a panic attack. She was like, "Oh my God, like there's like, why are we even here? This is embarrassing. I'm not even going to try." I'm like, "Oh, just wait, just hold on." And the artist stands up there, and you have four paints. You have four paintbrushes in front of you, and four colors in front of you, and a canvas. And the artist says, "All right, everybody, take paintbrush number 1, dip it in yellow, and go in the upper right hand corner and do a swirl, a yellow swirl."
Yeah.
Okay. Take the second paintbrush number 2 and put it in blue and go across the bottom and goes like this. So right now, take number 3 and do this and go. And at the end of them walking through that process, everybody's shit kind of looks like a Monet.
Right.
Now, did mine look a little bit better than hers? And of course, right? But everybody came close. And so I think that's for us as leadership. We have to put a structure in place to allow everybody to become, be able to at least come close to a Monet. And then there are just those ones who are just going to be able to paint the Monet without any direction.
Yes. And when we're talking red zone stuff, by the way, you probably know this guy. Is the artist name, is it Radko?
Oh,
you know what
yes,
I'm talking about?
I do.
I think it's something like that. Anyway, this painting I saw sold for like $45 million, and it's literally a freaking blue stripe across. Yeah, right. Now I know it's deeper than that. Yeah. As a non-artist, though, I'm like, dude, I could have done that. Radko, is it Radko?
Something like Radko. Yeah.
Anyway,
or the banana taped on the wall.
Right, exactly. Like, point is, art's art. It's subjective. So what works for one may not work for another.
And that's the other point, right? Is like, you can't do this. You can't paint by numbers because my style is different than your, right? I'm John Barrows from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm about as direct and in your face as it gets when it comes to selling. If somebody else tried my approach, they would offend almost anybody they talk to.
Right.
But that's the science that allowed my art to figure it out. Like the science and the structure of me testing and trying and crossing that line of being too rude or being too aggressive and then pulling back allowed me to be the quote unquote artist I am today.
Yes. It's brilliant. We, with our new operating system, which is 90% process, we always say you still have to have the magic. And we use the words customize and integrate. You customize and integrate a process based on your own personality. Yeah. I can give both of us the same process, and I'm Cornfield, Indiana guy, a little less in your face, a little more like, oops, sorry, you did that guy naturally, but they can both work. They can both work.
Absolutely.
John and I can both follow a process and style it differently and be true to ourselves, because you have to be true to yourself. You start being someone else's baloney. So let's talk about the man. You mentioned managers. I'm going to talk about this because here's what I see. I love your take on this. I see deals in funnel. I see managers who allow non-inspected deals to stay. They do not do a good job of depth of inspection. They take the first, thing they hear. Hey, where are we at? With the AT&T deal, John. Good. Yeah, we're supposed to know something Thursday. Okay, good. Keep me posted. We got a follow-up date. Yeah, I'm gonna call. It's all baloney, right? So that I see that, and then we're in this red zone. I don't see sales leaders doing a good job coaching through the red zone. I see them hammering the red. Like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? That's not helping a guy close a deal or a gal close a deal. So what's your take on the manager's role in the red zone?
The Advanced Selling Podcast 2-Minute Drill is powered by the Blind Zebra Sales Operating System, a curated collection of field-proven tools that make selling simple to solve your biggest sales problems and drive immediate results. Stop chasing prospects, stop being ghosted, and get stalled deals moving again. Learn more at blind-zebra.com.
So I have a lot of empathy, but also a lot of disdain for managers, quite frankly. They don't ever get coached on how to coach.
Yes.
They're almost inevitably, it's the best rep on the company that got promoted to be the manager. And that's usually the worst person you can possibly have as a manager, because that best rep is usually the artist. They're just good at what they do. And they can't explain it in a lot of ways. And so when you put them in a management role, they do what they do, which is deal chase. They don't coach.
Yep.
They close. And I actually said this the other day. I think AI, the best application for AI in sales is, I think, frontline management coaching, because I just wish we would give up on pretending like managers are coaches. They're not.
Right.
They look
Right.
at deals, they inspect, they can close deals, they can run forecasts, they can run reports, but they can't coach. And I think that's the big missing piece here.
Mm.
That's why what you find is so many managers at the end of the month, they tell the rep, hey, if you give an extra 20% here, see if that client will close this month instead of next month. Like, how ignorant is that?
Don't even give me started.
You're literally giving away. And by the way, I tell people all the time, and God, everybody listening to this, please, please, please. I think the most pathetic thing in sales, period, is proactive discounting.
Oh my God.
I think it's the
Don't
most.
get me started.
I genuinely think it's the most pathetic thing in sales. It's like you and I have a relationship. You've done your job. You've built this rapport with me. I have a need. I told you I'm probably going to close by the end of next month. You get nervous. Your boss comes in and says, hey, extra 10%. What do you think? And I get that email from you that says, hey, John, I know you were supposed to, but this, if you close now, you just went from trusted advisor, really consultative to douchebag sales guy.
Yeah.
And by the way, now psychology wise,
Totally.
If I got a discount without me even asking, now game on, man. Now I'm gonna drive this to the bottom because you screwed me. You said earlier you gave me a price that you said, and now you're dropping 20% without me even asking. So now you've ruined everything. Okay.
Yes.
So I think that's the big problem. And managers, to your point, they're very reactive in a lot of ways. If the pipeline's good and everything looks good, they're happy. They go in, they coach the reps. But if the pipeline's and it's close, it's panic set. They jump on calls. They don't have context. They try to use their skills without a lot of knowledge about the real deal and what's happening or the relationships they have. They go over their point of contact's head to get the fucking executive in there. And that just usually loses far more than it wins. And so I think managers are in a tough spot because they are in that middle management role, which is death for anybody. I hated it when I was a middle manager. I hated being told what to do. I hated being the middleman, just trying to, protect my team from the shit that was coming down up top. But also none of them, a lot of them aren't interested enough to become a coach, to become a real value add to the equation, as opposed to just feeling good that they swooped in and closed the deal at the end and they were the hero.
I feel like they check some people when they get that sales leadership role, they check their soul and they think they do what they're supposed to be doing. And they lose their core of thinking, critically thinking, go, what should I do? Or what's the best move here? There's I'm sure thousands of listening to this episode that are going to go, oh my God, he just described my boss. Yeah. Because that's what they do. It's panic attack at the end. The discounting thing at the end. So I want to get some tactics here, but do not, I'm going to say it what John said and then add to it. Maybe don't ever do that. Just don't ever discount a deal at the end to try to get someone to take action. You can't undo that. Once it's out, it's out. And to your point, that if I'm the buyer, even if I really like you and I know what I got. I know what I got. I know what I can get away with, right? Renewals, you'll kill them all. Go ahead.
To be crystal clear, though, just to make sure, I personally hate discounting across the board. I wish we would stop doing it. Yeah. But what we're talking about here is proactive discount. Yes. When the client doesn't ask.
Yes.
100%. It's a different story when they come to you and say, hey, at the end of the month, if I close now versus next month, can I get a deal? That's a different conversation.
100%.
So I want to make sure people hear that, because that is a very clear distinction to me, that when you proactively give me something, it's like when reps send a proposal with the discount already in it when they didn't talk about it. And it's 9 times out of 10 because they're just scared shitless and they know that price is too high. If you haven't addressed, so let's go back to closing in the red zone. Yeah. It's kind of like doing a performance review for a sales rep. Let's go back to management and red zone here. Yeah. If you're doing a performance review for a sales rep, like a yearly performance review, and there is any surprises in there, you're a fucking asshole as a manager. Okay. It's the same thing with a deal. If you deliver a proposal to somebody and that price is shocking to them, then you're an idiot. Like, then you just suck at sales. Like you should have addressed that way earlier on. They should know what they're expecting.
Yes, always. It's a little phrase in our book. It's called the no surprise proposal. It should never happen. It should always be addressed up front. Yeah. And the proactive thing is true, because we will also, we one of our little couchy phrases is, I'll always trade money for commitment for something. Yeah. I'll have that conversation. You want to do a longer term, anything like that, for sure. More users, discount for sure. Yep. It's an economics game. But this whole, hey, it's the end of the month, the client hasn't said anything, I haven't heard anything, throw 15%, see if that gets them. Do not do that.
God.
For sure. Do not do that. What should a sales leader do that's the opposite of this stuff? So we said, okay, they're bad, they suck at coaching. What's something they can do in the red zone that is useful and is valuable based on your experience?
I think, coach the reps. Well, so here's the thing. It goes back to the nuances, I think, right? In coaching reps of what good looks like, what first of all, a good client looks like, and why they should be doing things, and helping them understand impact and all the problems and everything else. But even the nuanced things like procurement. Most reps are scared shitless of procurement, so they wait all the way until the end to then and when that happens, procurement's going to do what procurement does. They're going to look at cross every T, dot every I. But if you engage procurement early, then they might feel part of the process. And so I think maybe once you're getting close to the red zone, as an example, if I would do anything as a manager, I wouldn't call the boss. I wouldn't call the executive. I'd call procurement. I'd say, hey, you know what? My rep is working with one of your teammates here. They're busy, coordinating and just getting, all the stuff that they're working on here. I wanted to reach out to you directly from a procurement standpoint and see what I could do to help grease the skids here to make sure that this isn't a surprise and we don't have to panic at the end of the month. You know what I mean? Those type of things. I think maybe doing a video. Here's a super, tactical thing. The manager, instead of calling and sounding pathetic, being like, "Hey, Brian, what's up, man? I'd love to touch base and check in with you. I know we're working on a deal together, and I just want to kind of, for no fucking reason, reach out to you. Instead of that, do a video. Pick one of the tools. I don't care which one. And hey, Brian, just want to introduce myself as the executive over here. If you need anything as we go through this process, I've been talking to Sarah over here and super excited at, as the potential opportunity to work with you. Heard a lot of good things about you. If you have any questions as we go through this, I just want to name to a face here, man, and let you know that, right? Something simple like that goes a long way.
It's so good. And we can go off on a whole tangent of use of video.
Oh God, yeah.
A huge proponent of that. We use it like it's our job at Blind Zebra here in my company. The other thing people don't think about is just this is like less than that, is a little audio file too. If you can't, if you can't do the video, you got someone to text or an email audio. It's really hard to not open those things.
Oh yeah.
We're past the days of like, well, it might be a corrupt file. We're past that stuff. You're like, that's interesting because it's familiar. This is red zone. It's not cold stuff up front. They know you already.
You want to like super small ones?
Yeah.
Connect on LinkedIn and see if they accept the request.
Right.
Like that, to me, that's a yellow flag. Like, no shit. I'm dead serious. If later on in the sales process, we're getting, there's good rapport by the rep and those type of things, and I understand who the decision maker is, and I know they're part of this process, and I'm a manager, and I ping them on LinkedIn and I connect with them, and they don't accept my connection.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a red flag. I'm just saying,
it is. It makes
something's a little off here.
Absolutely.
You could go into the realm of looking at intent data if you have those type of tools to really start to diagnose, like, hey, is that company searching for anybody else? Hey, who is their what screwed me a bunch of times with my deals when we talk about Morgan, getting them on here? We lost 4 deals in 2 months because we got a verbal agreement from Champion, executive alignment, the whole thing. But the board of directors came in at the end. And somebody on the board said, hey, so you know what I did after that? First of all, I made sure Morgan understood who exactly the board members were and what involvement they had. But then I would personally reach out to the board members.
That's it.
And be like, hey, I know, a lot of times boards are involved in this type of stuff. Just wanted to see if there's anything I could give you some insights into as we go through this process. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not looking to go over the executive's head here. I'm literally just introducing myself, just in case you have any questions as we make this investment.
It's bravo. The other thing I'm hearing you do that everyone needs to get from this episode, and John is so good at this. One, he owns it. He's super confident and super humble. But when something doesn't work, he fixes it. You fix it, dude. You're really good at that, man. Yeah. I hear you do that all the time. Like, I had this problem, but here's what I did. Most people say, yeah, we still can't close. Yeah, we got stuck by the board again. It's just what am I supposed to do? I can't do it. It's a board. I'm like, no, there's all sorts of things you can do.
Yeah.
It's limitless.
Yeah. Exactly.
What about, here's one. We added this. I'll give you this one. Steal it, please. No, everything's football themed at Blind Zebra. So we were losing deals with the contract was just floating in the wind.
Yep.
So, and it wasn't even procurement. It was just like kind of, people just forget shit and whatever. So we created signing day. So we have a go, no go date. That's on the calendar. That's the verbal. Hey, yeah, I think we're all good to go. So instead of going, good, I'll send the contract over. It's DocuSign. Just say, we don't do that. We say, good, we're going to send you the contract over. You can look at it. Then we're going to book a 10-minute signing day. It's kind of like our celebration thing, and it's on the calendar. And I say, if you sign it before then, we can just cancel that and move you to onboarding.
So I do the exact same thing.
It's awesome, isn't it? Signing day.
I go like this. It's a give get for me. So when somebody says they're going to make a decision by the end of the week, I am very assumptive close on this. If we're going to keep going closing on the red zone here, right? I'm a very assumptive closer when that happens. I say, great, right? When you want to schedule calls, and I literally say this, when do you want to schedule a call so I can get a yes or a no from you either way? And this way we don't have to play chase.
Amen. There it is.
So I say that at the end, right? So first of all, I give you an out so I can get a yes or a no from you either way. And this way we don't have to play chase. Letting you know we're going to play chase. And I'm better at it than you are, by the way. You know what I mean? My job is to stalk you. Your job isn't to avoid me. So eventually I'm going to get through and it's going to get weird. So we could do this the easy way or the hard way. And the person that agrees to that is going to close 95% of the time. The person who doesn't, I'd be a little hesitant.
Oh, you're back. Hang on.
Yep.
We'll go. We'll edit that out. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Clap. What's your number one prevention tool to not be so bad in the red zone?
Say that one more time.
What's your number one prevention tip to keep the red zone clean?
Procurement. I really do. I think the number one prevention tip is engage with procurement early. Make them part of the process, because if they're not, they'll kill it, and no champion will be able to force it down somebody's throat.
So good. So good. And people don't do it. They don't do it. They're scared. Just what you said earlier. They're scared of procurement.
Here's one, a small little tactic on procurement too, just to throw it in there. Something what procurement will do is it's called nibbling. And so what they'll do is they'll wait all the way until the end, and then they'll ask for that one thing because they know you're desperate. It's the end of the month. You've put all this effort in. And so they actually are taught this, where they're like, you know what, Brian, I know we talked about a 3-year contract. Why don't you just update that to a 1-year contract, send it over, we'll sign it today. Yeah. And most reps are going to shit themselves, be like, fuck, I got to get this in and fine, do that. And absolutely not in that scenario. In that scenario, okay, later, like earlier on, if you're still not the preferred vendor, if they still haven't told you that they're going to move forward, you don't have a champion, then you can't do this. But at the end, if you have a champion, you know the preferred vendor, you're ready to go, there's an implementation date started, and they start fucking around at the end, just literally the answer is no. Like straight up, no, send the email.
That's it. I had a buddy here in Indy who owned a huge spinal implant company. And he told me this. He said, you know what I used to do with all of my leadership team and my procurement group? Any deal that was over a number, let's call it $1 million, we were going to buy. Once you make a final decision, you're in no matter what. Once you say yes, before you send the contract, go ask for a 10% discount and tell him you'll sign it on the nose. He had a number that he saved just by asking. He says every salesperson, laid down.
Actually, you'll know this. The easiest thing to do, anybody out there can do this right now. If there's like a training program that like a workshop, like a public workshop or something like that, or sign up for my program, right? 95% of the time, if you reach out to a sales rep who sells sales training workshops and say it's $1,000, and you're like, hey, I only got about $600 from my boss only gave me, I can only allocate that. Is there any chance? I promise you 95% of the time you'll get something. You might not get it down to 600, but you'll get it 800. You'll get it for it's so sad that sales trainers don't practice what they preach when it comes to this shit.
It's so funny. I love saying the answer is no. And if you ask again, it's going to go up. So keep asking if I were you. So, hey man, how can people get a hold of you and follow you?
Yeah, easy, man. Just jbarrows.com, jbarrows.com. I just updated everything, my whole new membership site. I got memberships for individuals for $420 for the year. You get everything that I got access to as far as all the training I've given to Salesforce, LinkedIn, and everybody else. You'll find me on LinkedIn, obviously. Make It Happen Mondays. I'm all over the place. So just ping me and happy to help.
That's it. If you listen to the Advanced Selling podcast and you don't follow John Barrows, shame on you. And his program is awesome. And what you see is what you get, which is why he's sitting here with me today, because we're very similar that way. So, hey, dude, thanks a bunch. If you haven't already, send me an email, bzsos@blind-zebra.com. I can talk about how to become a certified operations coach. Remember, it's a corporate thing, not an individual thing. So you got to make sure sure you know that. And that's it. We'll see you next time on the Advanced Selling Podcast.